Problem 8.1, millimeters, grams, and seconds. Origin is kind of to the outside, and the center um, part is symmetric, sort of. All sketches are fully defined, lines, circles, center lines, polygons, sketch fillets, and sweeps. All right, so rules for sweeps. The way they have this drawn is telling me that our path is going to be along this edge, make the turn, come back horizontally. We have the hexagon for a wrench and the overall height. So this works out okay because if it was on center line, then we'd have to kind of recalculate where the bend is. So one of the primary rules of sweeps is that the path cannot self-intersect. So when we generate this profile, this end shape, and it goes through, there may be a point where this radius becomes so tight that it can't calculate the geometry. If it went to a 90 degree, it might, but anything other than a sharp, if it tried to self-intersect, then it would fail. So let's get into the build, and we'll see what other rules come up as we go. All right, so not a crazy difficult part. On the front plane, we're going to draw the path, and we just need our distances. So 70, 75, and then to the end we go to the 25, and then to radius of 6. Okay, and then that's it. Whatever we want to be able to generate becomes our path. Then on a perpendicular or I'm going to say convenient plane, we'll open up the sketch, and we'll go ahead and draw our hexagon, and kind of get it close that way because that's sort of what I'm seeing. And we can make one edge vertical, and while I'm there, I'll go ahead and put that to the midpoint. So usually the the perpendicular plane, I try to make a pierce somewhere, but it doesn't always. But if it fails, you know, probably the some point to that line pierces, which means where the front plane passes through, there's a point here and a point here. So that can pierce that path. But let's go ahead and see what we get. So features, swept boss base, and the first circle is the profile, and then the second selection is the path. And if we get a preview, then it's good, and we go ahead and select it. All right, so for our volume then, we're into the evaluate, the mass properties, and 1306 and a bit of change. So that one's pretty good. So let's go ahead and save it. We'll set up our folder for level 8. And make sure to open it, and then we'll be P8-1. Save. So let's go ahead and add 8.2 to this video. Medium difficulty, parts origin is located at the bottom center. Symmetrics, probably across the front plane. Sketches are fully defined. Lines, circles, center lines, sketch fillets, and sweeps. Should be able to do this profile as an offset. It's kind of not clear where the path intersects, but let's see if we can see the profile. So yeah, they're doing that on the outside. So we would need to make sure that this point locates the path on the exterior of the part. So let's go ahead and close that one. We'll open up the part metric. Let's go into the front plane and we'll start sketching. And let's see if we need a center line now. Let's just go with the center point arc. We know that it's going to be something like that. And then we'll go into the tangent arc and bring it back the other way. And this should come up a little bit more. And I think because of the complexity, I'm going to go ahead and dimension a few of these as we go. So radius of 7, and then 2 times radius of 5. Okay, so we can select and control select and make equal. And we have to figure out our angle. So that one was 26 to the outside point. So let's keep going with the line, and we'll see if we can not see an inference for that to come off tangent. So we'll just go that way and back to the start and do the continuous. So let's bring in the tangent. All right, and then there is a small line at the end, and we'll go tangent. So just want to make sure there's a tangent, and if we go to that one, that there's a tangent. All right, so back to the dimensions. Let's go into radius of 10. From the centers, we have 26. And let's make the origin center of the bottom arc vertical to the top. And then between those two, we're going to end up with 26 degrees. So still need a way to make those symmetric. So let's go with a center line between the two arcs. And realistically, I'm guessing that those will be symmetric. All right, so from that point down, they're saying 4.5 on the end tab. And we'll bring this one off. There is a tangent, and go ahead and leave that one. And then we need 14 degrees from that line to the outside. Okay, so center-wise then, let's try going horizontal. And between the 2 points, we'll go horizontal. So center point to center point horizontal, end point horizontal. That looks pretty good. All right, and they didn't call out planes, but in versions past, you had to make sure that you were on the end point because it didn't like to go both ways. The last couple times there was a setting in my sweep that basically said, yeah, if you want to start it at the beginning. So I think I need a position. Let's go ahead and generate a center line. And more so just so I can pierce and find that location, because I would like to hide that and get it out of my way for a minute while I sketch this this arc and profile. So let's take a look at the top. The radius of 2, kind of into a radius, and an overall of 5. So we're going to flip that upside down since I'm on the bottom. And let's go center. And we can make that a midpoint to establish the symmetry. Then we'll go tangent arc and tangent arc. Could have mirrored them, but let's just go ahead and make those symmetric. And since this is the outside that we're detailing to, we'll go 5 millimeters, radius of 2 millimeters, and those are some interesting jumps. Let's bring that back to 1 millimeter and see what it does. Oh, it is 1 millimeter. All right, so we need to drag. Okay, what is the height then from the center of the arc to that edge? So we're going that way to that way. All right, so let's see how this moves. Oh, and the 5 millimeters. Let's get it back close so that I can make the endpoint symmetrical, because the arcs should have. So that leaves me the endpoint. So their ends looked a little flatter, but I think, yeah, I can't really see it on the radius, but let's go ahead and select the chain. We will go into the offset, and the offset will be 0.5. And I'm going to reverse it and cap the ends with lines. All right, so theirs was more vertical. Yeah, let's, I probably don't want to cap the ends then. If I want it to be vertical, it's going to follow the offset. And because the offset says it's fully defined, but we can, so the black endpoint just means that as long as I don't move it, it's fully defined. But as soon as I move it, then I can apply the vertical to it. So those lines become vertical, and I'll just, is saying it's fully defined. Usually the end point of the center line leaves it just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and make that horizontal before I accept it. All right, now we can show the profile, and we're back into our swept boss base. Select the profile, select the path, and then notice that we have one direction, the other direction, and both directions. See if it's giving, okay, bidirectional. So it's giving us both of those items. All right, and then we can go back and hide our sketch. And we have something that looks pretty close. So this has a volume of 288. And so we'll go into the evaluate on the mass properties and 289. So pretty darn close. We'll take it. If there's any question, it's probably in how the tangency and the curvature went for that outside shape. But it follows the profile all the way around. If we had to build this some other way, it would be a lot of little segments on a lot of construction. There's going to be geometries that are just too difficult without the this say upper advanced geometry that sweeps and lofts are able to generate.